KD and Kyrie. KD has been out for a week with COVID precautions. Guess what? No problem. Kyrie went off. What did you see from the point guard of Brooklyn last night?
I want to celebrate Kyrie because, like I've said, since he and Steph Curry rose to superstardom on the offensive end of the floor, like these guys are Harlem Globetrotters playing in the NBA. Do you see those moves, Jacoby? Like, we see Kyrie Irving and people, because of his height, want to put him in the box of being a point guard. Look at him like you look at Steph, like you look at Dame. These dudes are prolific scorers who aren't charged with getting 10 assists. He sees himself the same way James Harden does. He looks at himself like a shorter version of Kevin Durant. And I can't front. When I saw him put up 55 against the Spurs a couple of years ago, that's when I thought of that example. I was clearly disappointed in the defensive effort by the Utah Jazz. Donovan Mitchell did score over 30. But for Kyrie, a playoff team with a pair of $200 million players on the other side, it was extremely impressive.
You remember that IG Live when him and KD, when Kyrie was like, no matter who's covering me, I feel like it's a mismatch? He's kind of showing that on the court so far this season. And one thing that's really interesting to point out during this is Steve Nash remixed the whole lineup. The only starter that remained from the previous game to this game was Kyrie Irving. And one of the key things he did was finally replace DeAndre Jordan with Jarrett Allen. And you look at those highlights from Kyrie. Who's setting all those screens? Oh, Jarrett Allen. Who's collecting this behind the back pass? Jarrett Allen. Jarrett Allen played really well. He's clearly a better choice than DeAndre Jordan. I feel like chemistry between him and KD and Kyrie was the reason that he was in the starting lineup to begin with. But not only that, Taurean Prince started and Bowen started. And what did that do? The one problem with this team was the defense. That shored up the defense. Utah shot just under 39% from the field. I'm going to say it again. Utah shot just under 39% from the field. And I think that this is Steve Nash starting to figure out that maybe when you have scorers like Kyrie and KD, you should surround them with defenders to help shore up that end of the court. Do you think he will continue to do this throughout the season, trying to find the right lineup?
Absolutely. The only, anchors in the lineup clearly are going to be KD and Kyrie. And we've gone to Nets games together. We've taken this show to the Barclays. So that's kind of a squad that we've adopted. And it's ironic that we get a chance on Wax to cheer for Karis LeVert. Like I cheer for him and I cheer for Dinwiddie. But you take it personal that Jarrett Allen ain't starting. You take it personal.
I love Jarrett Allen.
Yeah, you love Jarrett Allen so much. Why do you take it so personal? I agree with you, he should be starting. But I want the people to know how much you're a fan of his and why you take it personal that they have the nerve not to start your guy.
Well, it all started in that series against the Sixers. Now, did they win the series? No. But did they go back and forth a little bit? Yes. And Jarrett Allen showed that not only can he, rim, and dunk, he can also play defense against Joel Embiid somewhat. Obviously, no one can stop Joel Embiid, one of the best big men in the league. But then they bring in DeAndre Jordan, clearly because he's friends with KD and Kyrie. And if I'm Jarrett Allen, I'm like, wait a second. I'm a rising role player in this league, and you're going to bring in this vet who does what? Rim protects, rebounds, and block shots and dunks? That's what I do. You're bringing him in just because he's friends with them too? Come on now, he's eating in my minutes. But you saw last night, DeAndre Jordan had just under 9 minutes where Jarrett Allen showed up and showed out with 19 points and 18 rebounds. While the Brooklyn Nets have a lot of options of what lineups they're going to throw out there at different positions because they're so deep. The Rams.
By Crown Royal Regal Apple.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do, though?
We give the people what they want.
The Rams might not have a quarterback. We have a Heisman Trophy winner, but we start with the best team in the National Basketball Association. The championship Lakers went up against the Grizzlies and handled business, led by, of course, 26 from LeBron and 26 from AD. Jalen, what do you think about the statement the Lakers have made early in the season?
First, I want to set the table because my Grizzlies, because you know how much I love Ja Morant, he wasn't playing. Jared Jackson Jr., who dunks on anybody with his left hand and shoots threes, wasn't playing. And Winslow, who they got from the Heat, wasn't playing. However, we know, just like in football, the Kansas City Chiefs have distinguished themselves as the best team in the league. Not necessarily saying that it's a slam dunk that they're going to win it, but that's who I'm picking to win it. It's the same thing with the Lakers in the NBA. They're the team that went to training camp Jacoby and looked and was like, we got LeBron, who was great in the second half yesterday. And you saw when he made the late shot on Brooks and he told him he was too small. I guess LeBron could do that to anybody if he really wanted to. They have depth. They can play big. They can play fast. They can play in the half court. They're intelligent. They're the defending world champions. Unless COVID or injury derail the Los Angeles Lakers, they will be back-to-back champions.
Oh, they will. And another thing I could see happening is just sort of like fatigue. You know, just sort of malaise. Like Schroeder had double digits in this one, and they folded him in well, and they're folding in Trez. But this team, as you mentioned, is head and shoulders above everybody else in the league. They're the number one spot. There's a big gap, and then it's 2 through 30. However, as you mentioned, that doesn't mean they're going to win the championship. We've seen what happened over seasons. We've seen what happens in playoff series. There are always upsets, but right now, unlike last year, the Lakers are the clear-cut favorite right now to win the championship and be the number one seed in the Western Conference. One thing that's worth mentioning, though, is third in defensive rating and sixth in offensive rating. Like third best defense and sixth best offense, that's going to translate to wins no matter who you are. They've been doing it on both ends. And Jalen, one of the teams that wants to challenge the Lakers in the other conference, of course.
Hey, LeBron, just wondered what you've noticed in the difference on a 4-game trip like this from previous years, and hate to keep coming back to comparing. I know it's unique in the pandemic, but how you get a team to 4 straight wins, staying in the hotel, you know, thinking about other things. How have you guys kept the main thing in your words?
That's what it is. I mean, we're here to work, get better, and to win. We're in the winning business, and that's what we want to do. We want to continue to build great habits. And we're gonna have times where we don't play to our capabilities, but we still want to be able to create great habits going forward. And I think we did that on this road trip.
Even with the new players, are there times like in the closing lineup where you and AD already sort of know exactly what to do to close out a game? How much of that is conscious, and how much of it is just the way that you guys impact the game?
Well, I mean, who's ever out on the floor late in the game is a reason. It's a reason why they're out there, and we trust everyone that's out there, all 5 guys. So. I think tonight's closing lineup was myself, AD, Dennis Menace, Wes, and Kuz, and we was able to, close the game out in fashion and get some stops, timely stops, and get some timely buckets.
Dan Warkey.
Hey, LeBron, I'm going to take you away from the court for a little bit. Obviously, you guys played a game tonight, but there's so much going on in the world. In the morning, you guys find out that the officers and then Jacob Blake shooting won't be charged. As the day goes on, I'm sure you've got news about what's happened in Georgia and the turnout there and stuff like that. On nights like this, how are you able to focus on basketball? And I guess sort of your reaction to what else is happening? I mean, and all these other orbits that you have your fingers on.
Well, I'm smart enough to know that even though we're playing a game of basketball, that there's so much more that's going on in the world. So much more that's even more important than us playing a game. To hear what happened in Kenosha today was a blow to the heart and to the gut. Not only to that community, but to us and to every, Black person that just has been a part of this process and seeing these outcomes for so long. And not only just in the Black community, but also in the white community as well, who see, moments like this happen to us, and to happen to his family, and to happen to the kid himself. To see that verdict, it was just, it was a blow to the gut, like I said, and a blow to the heart. But we got to continue to stay strong, continue to believe in each other, and continue to push for the greater of change and for the greater of good. And to hear, my people turn out in Georgia in the fashion that they did. I'm definitely going to get some more information on it, but I heard they turned out in Georgia, and that's commendable. It's something that we started with more than a vote, and we want to continue to do that and continue to support, actions like this and causes that went on today. And it's been going on, obviously. So proud of my people for getting out there and doing what they do best. So, and that's being heard and being seen and being powerful and being engaged. And that's how it is.
Dave?
Brian, what does the next stage of More Than a Vote look like? You started in the summer. There was the big election in November, the runoff today. Can you take us forward as to what the next steps will be?
One, I can tell you, Dave, is that we're not going to stop. And we're always looking for opportunities to continue to grow, not only in my community but all over the world and all over America. As you've seen, we've been able to do since the summertime, all the way up into today. So we're going to continue to keep our foot on the gas, continue to keep our foot on, keep the pressure on going on how we continue to create change. And like I said, create change for the Black community, but also just create change for the greater good. And we're looking forward to seeing what ways we can do and what we can do going forward.
A few more. Bill Orm?
Hey, LeBron. This is the first time we've talked to you about Jacob Blake since the bubble. And I'm wondering how this result, if at all, changes is the wrong word, and I hate that I'm using it, but how that makes you look at what you guys did in the bubble when you